I grew up in Hackney, and and I started writing 2011 when my first book came out 2011, just as the riot started.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what's
was
the first book?
So it's called Consequences: Breaking the Negative Cycle. So that's my only book that's not fiction. So that was based on the 8 years that I had working as a youth worker, working with a lot of young people who were on the peripheries of criminalities and making wrong decisions.
Yeah.
So that book was inspired through negative, tragic circumstances. So I started this workshop called Consequences, where I took out one of the, in the youth clubs, you've got table tennis, you've got pool, everyone's coming to chill.
Yeah.
So I took one of those nights away and I was like, listen, we're just going to talk. So this is before the age of podcast.
Oh, right.
So everybody's like, all the Mandem, no one's going to come to this. It's like, you're going to scare everybody away. Everybody wants to just come and play table tennis. So I said, no, listen, let's talk and literally figure out what's everyone's concerns. What's happening in school, what's happening in college, why are people being kicked out, why are people making these choices of doing this rather than doing that, instead of chasing money where you can have peace of mind, whereas if you chase that particular type of money,
of course,
everybody's on your back, the police, the ops, So, but then it became the biggest thing in terms of we had loads of, young men from different parts of Hackney coming in and we're just having a conversation.
Where was the youth club?
So this was in Hoxton.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty much sort of on the sort of borderlines of sort of Islington as well.
Yeah.
And so, but the young lady who helped me set this up, she was sort of shot and killed in 2010. It was 13th year anniversary.
Agnes?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Actually, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I just... Yes.
Yeah, so she helped me set that up in terms of that workshop. And then I guess to keep the legacy of what we sort of built during that period, it was more about how do we extend this conversation beyond Hackney?
Yeah.
And I had to think of a medium. I'm not a rapper, I'm not a comedian, but at the same time I have a message to share with people. And so that's when I wrote Consequences. And so that everything, the chapters of that book were basically everything we were discussing, i.e. broken homes, stereotypes, education system, and so on and so forth. That became chapters of the book. And so from that point, it was more, okay, this is now my stepping stone to becoming a writer and a public speaker as well.
Sorry to, obviously, don't know if it's appropriate or not. I'm just thinking, obviously, like I said, you mentioned the girl that got, killed and she was helping with the youth work stuff. I don't know if we should be able to talk about it, but obviously, I feel like it would be good to basically speak about something that she did, like what she was involved in. That's really good that she was, involved in helping the youth and putting that together. That's pretty amazing on her part. So, big shout out to her.
She was only 16 at the time as well, so she had her head screwed on, and so
quite mature for her age as well.
Yeah. So rest in peace.
What was her name?
Agnes.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Was she on the news in it?
Yeah, it was a big case at the time.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So
So you went from Consequences.
Yeah.
And then you have another book afterwards?
So so that was 2011, and so then my next book came out in 2015, and that was called Ambitions of the Deprived. So that was a story about 4 young boys who grew up in Hackney, and they made this pact to help each other succeed no matter what. So the idea of that book was to try and change the narrative around this type of stories that were told from the ends.
Yeah.
We know what that story is. We've all seen, what's it called? Bullet Boy.
In the
We've all
movies,
seen, it's escaped my mind. The Netflix one, the
Top
big
Boy.
one. Top Boy, exactly.
Guys, coming back though.
Yeah, it's coming back. But we know what that narrative is like.
Of course.
And there's nothing wrong with that storytelling within
Did
itself.
you see that as glorification and you wanted to try to change that, or just show a different...
Because ultimately, I'll have in a youth club, I might have a group of 40 boys. And about 10% of them are in the badness.
Yeah.
And then everybody else knows what's happening. They're going to school, they're going to college. But what the few do can affect everyone in the area. But those guys had a massive story to tell as well, in terms of what was happening in their lives, in terms of with their mums, their fathers, and so on and so. But nobody was telling that story. And so that's what Ambitions of the Deprived is about. They are boys that are growing up around this, and then one of them gets caught up in a joint enterprise situation. And so it's a story of exploring friendship at that age, where a lot of people would normally associate, you're going to back me in beef. And that's the ultimate classification of what friendship is at that age for a lot of young guys in regards to whether it's you on this hand, you might not back me in beef, but if something happens to my mum, you're the first person that's going to be there.
Yeah.
So it's exploring all of those angles of what friendship is at the same time trying to fight the justice system as well. And so that was Ambitions of the Deprived.
So consequences, ambitions of the deprived.
Yeah.
And then
My Sister's Pain.
okay.
So that